pulling you back to your origins, right? Like data analytics. That's the curious part about it.
Full circle.
Cool. And yeah, it's a circle, the circle of life.
Yeah.
So tell me, regarding SMS, right? I want to just touch a little bit specifically in SMS. How does it help an e-commerce website, an e-commerce business, to include SMS? Because, I'll share how I see it. It opens another option. Because also I see people that think, no, I'm not going to do SMS because I don't want to be intrusive. But at the end of the day, you're just giving them the option and the liberty to choose, do you want me to contact you with SMS? Because maybe that's the channel that suits you the best.
I think, actually spent a lot of time thinking about this recently. I think the SMS channel is pretty misunderstood by marketers. And I think the marketing platform industry is a little bit to blame because the incentive that tools often provide to marketers is to send more messages. And I actually don't think that's what makes SMS successful. It's actually fewer, more timely messages makes SMS for a small subset of your audience even more powerful than email.
Yeah.
But
so it's context again, like
it's
timing and
context. That's right. And the problem is it's really complicated to be a marketer today. It's one thing to understand what to say and how to communicate your value proposition to people who have a certain problem. That's hard. That is not easy to do. It's a whole other thing to also understand how to use all these channels, which are changing like every week, it feels like. So I get it. It's complex, but one of the mistakes that I think many marketers make is they think about SMS in a way that's similar to the way people thought about email 10 or 15 years ago, which is I build a list and then I send a message to the list. And then when I want something to happen, I send another message to the list. And we've learned from email that that's wrong. You don't do that, right? You like take smaller groups and you send them different messages at different times. And I just don't think the technology, on Klaviyo, I think it's actually amazing. We're still trying to help people do more interesting and sophisticated things. But I think the technology hasn't really evolved to a place where you can be so personal in text the way that consumers actually want it to be. And instead, people are like, I don't want to I have so many messages from brands that every day at 12:15, they send me another sale text. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is like not the point of this. Whereas there are some brands that send like really interesting little articles or
value.
They will, total value. Or I'll ask a question and they'll actually respond. And it's just macros. It's automated.
Yeah.
But they give me value. And like, I pay attention to that brand once I've seen that they provide value to me in the way that I want. That's the magic of SMS that I don't think everyone has really unlocked yet. So when I hear people say like, oh, I don't want to be invasive, good. You don't want to be invasive, but
no
SMS alone is not always invasive. Sometimes it's very, very special, but you have to use it the right way.
Yeah, it's a tool. You just need to learn how to use it.
We see a lot of success. Hold on, before we move on, because I bet people are like, okay, well then what are you supposed to do? But we see a lot of success in number one, like transactional communications, updates about orders or updates about status of things. It's exceptionally useful via text because it doesn't get lost. Other ways are if someone definitely likes a brand, is a VIP, maybe multiple purchases, been to the website a lot lately, sending them information before you send it out to everyone via email or on your website, but via text so that you're like an insider.
Exclusive.
Amazing SMS use case.
Builds community, right? Around
Absolutely. After an order arrives and it's been a week, checking in to see how things are going and if there's anything that they can do to help, or offering an article on how to use that product. Amazing use of SMS. But hey, here's 5% off, go buy my thing every day is like not the right way to use text.
Yeah. I love to hear that. I totally agree with that as well. And Jake, the last part that I want to cover, like there are many things that I would love to cover with you, but we'll have more more opportunities.
Yeah, that would be great.
But yeah, and I want to talk about like what's the space that, and let's talk about email in general, like email SMS, right? In the marketing / sales funnels, right? Because some people will say, okay, email marketing or SMS, it's great for retention. But you gave some examples that I would say, okay, but it's great for activation or for acquisition. So like, what's your take on that?
Again, it's a channel, right? And so you can use it in lots of different ways. I think the most successful companies in terms of like generating revenue are constantly asking themselves the question, how can I provide more value than what I'm asking for at every interaction? And if you take that approach, email is a phenomenal sales channel to drive revenue from new customers. So like one example of that is you could have an experience on your website. We see this is very common. We see this now where there's a quiz that provides, you answer some questions, it gives a recommendation. You can actually say, here's this recommendation. And if you enter your email address, we'll send you some content about this specific product that we think will be useful for you. That's a lot of value. Then when you go send that to the person and they read it, they're literally educating themselves on the product that you told them to buy. Once you see that they read it, you can follow up and say, hey, just a reminder, we have, only so many in stock. If you're interested, now is probably a good time to buy it. No discount, just a little, you should go get this. You will literally drive a tremendous amount of sales through that little experience that has nothing to do with your repeat customers. So it's just about how you use the opportunity to communicate with someone directly and how you're constantly setting up more value than the ask, which allows people to lean in more and progressively build a deeper affinity with your brand. And ultimately, if they have the problem that your solution solves, they're going to buy it because they're in contact with you and you're building trust, from them.
Yeah, and we're talking about not just campaigns, right? Individual campaigns. We're talking about automated flows as well. That are being fed by those campaigns, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, I think flows are like the most powerful, amazing, and in particular in Klaviyo, they're so flexible. They're simple. There's like a whole library. You don't have to know a ton. You can configure basic things. But you can also get as like nuanced and specific and personal as you want. It's some people have done some incredible things. But I think flows are a way that you can construct a customer journey that builds more trust and automatically takes people down that journey for you once you configure it. And that to me is truly the magic of email. Campaigns are the sort of big revenue drivers that frankly I think work for your existing customers better. Because you've already established a deeper relationship with them, you can send some type of special update, and in their interest to support you and to get more of your solution, they'll exchange with buying stuff.